What if I told you that one of the oldest stories we have isn't just about how the world was made, but about how our minds are made? We're going to look at the book of Genesis today, not as ancient history, but as a surprisingly deep psychological map. Okay, so I know what you're probably thinking. How on earth can a story that's thousands of years old be a map of how your mind works, right here, right now? That's the big question we're tackling. And the answer? Well, it starts right where the story does, in a world before anything had a name. So, to even start charting this map, we have to go back to the beginning, back to the primordial soup. Genesis describes this process of pulling order out of chaos, and it turns out that's a perfect metaphor for what your consciousness does every single second. It builds a known reality out of a whole world of raw, messy potential. I mean, just picture this. The story kicks off with a world that has no shape. It's empty, it's dark. But this is so much more than a description of some pre-cosmic state. It's a powerful symbol for something we all know and face, the great unknown. Psychologically, we call this void chaos. But get this, in this way of thinking, chaos isn't evil. Not at all. It's just pure untapped information. It's the realm of infinite possibilities that exists before our mind has a chance to sort it all out and put labels on things.
So you've got this infinite, formless chaos. What acts on it? What gives it shape? The text gives us this profound, incredible answer: the Word, or in the original Greek, the Logos. This is the creative force that steps up and confronts the unknown.
And this word, it's not just a sound. In this framework, it is consciousness. It's the act of observing, of paying attention to something. It's what takes that endless sea of potential and collapses it into something real, something tangible that we can actually interact with. And what's amazing is that Genesis gives us a blueprint for how this works, a pattern that repeats over and over. It's a simple three-step dance. First, a voice speaks into the chaos. Let there be. Second, reality just clicks into place. And there was. And third, and this is absolutely critical, the new thing is given a name. Right, that third step, naming. This is where the whole psychological map just comes alive. It's the part that reveals how language doesn't just describe the world we live in, it actually, in a very real way, creates it. See, in the ancient world, to name something was to basically claim it. It wasn't about just slapping a sticky note on something that was already there. No, it was the very act of pulling something out of that chaotic mess, defining what it is and what it does, and making it part of the known, orderly world. And you can see this perfect parallel between the myth and our own minds. When God separates and names day and night, that's exactly what we do when we use concepts to sort our experiences. We're creating a predictable world out of chaos so that we can actually live in it without going crazy. It's how we navigate reality. And what's wild is that modern thinking is sort of catching up to this ancient idea. We usually think we just see a tree and then learn the word for it. But what this points out is that our very sense of a tree as one single thing isn't just a given. It's the word itself that allows us to see it as a tree, separate from the forest, the leaves, the ground. Okay, so let's recap. We have this orderly world, this garden where everything makes sense. It's all been spoken into existence, named and categorized. It's stable, it's predictable, and then something shows up that doesn't fit the map. An anomaly appears. Now, this is a huge reinterpretation. The serpent here isn't just some cartoon villain. It represents the anomaly. It's that piece of data that comes out of nowhere and proves that your understanding of the world, your story, is wrong. It shatters your certainty, and it forces you to learn something new. And a serpent is the perfect symbol for this because it's always been these two things at once. On the one hand, its venom can kill. That's the destructive power of chaos that can shatter your reality. But on the other hand, a serpent sheds its skin, a powerful, ancient symbol for rebirth and transformation. It brings the danger, but it also brings the breakthrough. So in our psychological map, the serpent in the garden is ultimately a force inside us. It's that little voice in your head, that innate ability of your own mind to come up with some disruptive new idea that challenges everything you thought you knew, and in doing so, makes your world bigger. But here's the catch. This expansion of consciousness, this new knowledge, it comes with a massive price tag. The immediate result of the serpent's revelation isn't some happy moment of wisdom. Oh no, It's the birth of self-consciousness, and with it, a truly terrible new awareness. I mean, this is one of the most psychologically jarring moments ever written. In a single instant, everything changes. For the very first time, there's fear. There's a painful, humiliating awareness of being naked. And there's the impulse to hide. The entire operating system of the mind just gets a reboot. Because nakedness here, it's not about being without clothes. It's about that sudden, gut-punch realization of your own vulnerability. It's knowing you can be hurt, that you're fragile, that you as an individual can be wiped out. It's the dawning awareness of your own mortality. Really, it's the shift from being a child to being an adult. A little kid is incredibly vulnerable, but they're blissfully unaware of it. An adult, on the other hand, is consciously vulnerable. We suffer because we know all the ways things can go wrong, but that very knowledge is what allows us to try and survive. So when you boil it all down, The Fall from Paradise isn't a story about something that happened once, a long time ago. It's a myth about something that happens to every single one of us. It's the story of becoming self-aware, of waking up to our own tragic mortal condition, and realizing that life is a drama of struggle and suffering. But wait, here's the final mind-bending paradox of the whole story. What if this great catastrophe was actually necessary? What if it was, in a very strange way, a fortunate fall? Just think about the trade-off. The cost was huge, right? We lost paradise, we got shame, suffering, and death. But what was the gain? Well, the gain was pretty much everything we call human history. You can't have heroism or culture or art without a struggle. The very idea of redemption only makes sense after you've fallen. And this isn't some modern spin. For centuries, deep thinkers and theologians have talked about this exact idea. They even had a name for it, Felix culpa, which means fortunate error or happy fault. It's the idea that this terrible event had to happen to make the whole drama of human striving and redemption possible in the first place. And this is where the ancient map leads us, right back to ourselves, right here and now. The story is telling us that our self-awareness is both our heaviest burden and our greatest gift. It's what kicks us out of an unconscious paradise, but it's also what gives us the power to create art and culture and meaning. So the final question isn't in the book, it's for us. What meaning are we going to choose to create?